Welcome to the Accounting Technology Lab, sponsored by CPA Practice Advisor, with your hosts, Randy Johnston and Brian Tankersley.
Good day. Welcome to the Accounting Technology Lab. I'm Randy Johnston with my co-host Brian Tankersley. We're going to talk about a product that we've known for a long time, BQE Core. Now, Shafat Kazi, who originated this company and created the product, did sell this off to private equity a few years back to Surrent Capital. The product itself is a fast SaaS product. To my knowledge, it still may be the most rapid, the most responsive software as a service product in the marketplace. And it was really created for professional services firms. So, Brian, what would you like our listeners to know about the BQE Core?
Well, BQE Core was created primarily for architect and engineering firms. Okay, it's used outside of that, in somewhat in construction, somewhat in other professions. But it has a lot of things that are very germane to architecture and engineering. Okay, but it is focused around projects. It is focused around staff utilization and other processes in here. The idea here is to help you take action to address four major issues. Again, to get better at winning projects, to have better processes, to do better planning and managing, and to utilize staff appropriately. And so again, that's their basic goal. The product is there is a stack of different applications on here, okay, that address those four issues: to win business, deliver projects, get paid, and manage. And you can see that they've got a tool set in here. So this really kind of functions almost like a CRM, and it really is designed to manage all phases of the engagement.
Brian, to that point, as you pointed out, one of the primary markets for BQE Core has been architectural or engineering, construction, AEC, but they also had a significant number of accounting firms that used the product as well. And it made sense because you could have this all-in-one contact management CRM, expense tracking. They did some beautiful stuff on that originally. But, if you think about tracking projects and managing the projects, this tool does that well.
Yeah, it does. It does. They've also got a mobile, since it's a SaaS product, you've got mobile capability. I think you actually just have kind of a responsive design on the whole product, so you can use it pretty much anywhere. You can either use their accounting or you can integrate with QuickBooks Online. So they do both. And again, it does some HR pieces as well. And
Brian, your point there though is actually pretty germane with the changes going on at Intuit. Having a product that has its own accounting inside may make a devil of a lot of sense for certain types of businesses. And by the way, not to disclose, but Brian and I are aware that a number of other vendors are building new general ledgers in response to some of Intuit's announcements. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the market over the next little while. But the accounting in here is actually pretty solid. The costing is pretty solid and so forth.
Yep. And it's always how it works. Is when it's my time to talk, the lawn guy comes by, but that's okay. I'm thrilled to have him, and he does great stuff. So anyway, I guess kind of as we continue through this now, they do have some dashboarding and some diagrams in here. Again, the design is well done. I think things worked out well in here. Again, it is an all-in-one solution, so it's not one of these things where you're going to implement one module and not another. You're going to typically go in and implement pretty much the whole thing. They are very focused on architects and engineers, and they, when Shafat still owned them, he brought in a guy, Steven, can't remember his last name, that's an architect that I think now is one of their senior leaders. And so it seems like they've kind of refocused on architects and engineers. But we got to tell you, man, we've seen a lot of people have used this successfully. The predecessor product to this, which used to be called BQE, is actually the product that I used when I started. It was a desktop product they don't sell anymore, and it was a product I used to send invoices when I first started my practice back in 2002. So It's a, again, it's got a long history. They did redo the whole code to make it cloudified, but again, it's a it's a tool that again has a long history of stability and usability.
Now,
Uh,
one thing they used to always be superb at too was support. So you got very quick, very high level support that people were trained very extensively. We think that culture has remained there. We do see declining support from lots of different products out there. And I'm pleased that that has not happened here. And to your earlier point, Brian, the dashboarding inside this product was very innovative at the time. So there's lots of things about this product that if you're looking for a good all-in-one product that can manage projects and so forth, it's still a viable product for accountant operations, CAS operations, and others, I think, as well.
yeah, it seems like legal was another vertical that they did some things with, but I think again, lawyer billing is always different than everybody else's, but it seems like they had that one handled too. So
They
um,
did.
interesting product. Now, for the numbers, they have 45,000 users, over 500,000 projects annually, $7 billion plus in annual invoice volume. And I think that's probably actually light, because I'd suspect that a lot of folks send billings out of a different format or even out of Word. Again, 25 years in business. I personally used this product and dealt with their support, 22 years ago. And it's, again, it's what Randy said about sports, absolutely accurate. Now, Randy,
So, yes.
you want to talk about some of the gaps here?
Yeah, so no worries at all, Brian. One of the things that we continue to worry about for small businesses and firms alike is workflow not being done right, trying to do things in Excel, systems outside the systems. And a lot of times, instead of having everything all in one system, buyers will go out and buy project management to handle that. And they'll go out and buy a workflow to handle that. And they'll go out and buy something else. And they'll try to cobble two, three, four things together. These point solutions are really incomplete as professional service application platforms. And now in my NMGI business, I use a full-blown PSA that's focused around managed service providers, and having everything in one platform makes all the difference in the world. Now, another issue in professions is we tend to hang on to our time in billing and practice management too long. It's true in legal, it's true in architecture, it's true in construction, it's true in accounting. And there's a lot of legacy ERP solutions out there that often have a lot of third parties involved too. So those things are all issues, and you have to be ready to make a cultural change to come into this world of highly automated, highly optimized processes, billing and project management.
And I think you have to do that from a competitive perspective in the modern market. You've seen all this, we've talked a lot about private equity in the past, and in Technology Lab and in other places. And one of the things about private equity that it's going to change is PE is very good at forcing change in technology. Okay, it's probably one of the only things that they're exceptional at in managing businesses. Okay, it's really, they really force people into a tech stack that automates tasks. Okay, now you and I and a lot of people in practice have not done the level of automation we should have to keep up with the enterprises and the PE funded firms and the .com companies and other things like that. Okay. You don't see it because you're not looking at that part of other people's businesses. Okay. But this is absolutely the case. Okay. If again, if you haven't looked at enterprises lately, the level of automation they have is absolutely stunning, including tools like robotic process automation and the integration platform as a service, digital plumbing automation, other things like that. Okay, this gets you a fully integrated suite, and it gives you that level of automation in a product suite that ties it all together. Randy's absolutely right that you do have to make a culture change to do this. Okay, but but I think one of the problems that we have in the accounting profession is that, just like the cobbler's kids always have holes in their shoes because there's always something else that's more important. I think we don't always focus enough on our processes and enough on our systems and tools. And we're so worried about changing things up and messing up our stack of tools we're using, or messing up the productivity of our team, that we're afraid to take any risk at all. Okay. And I think we've got to, as a firm culture and as a professional culture, I think you've got to embrace this modern technology, and this PE is going to force it. Okay. And you're going to see it, and you're going to lose staff if you don't have good automation, because this grunt work is one of the things that is absolutely driving people away from the profession.
So, one thing that BQE claims, which is correct, is their rapid implementation time. Another feature that I think is interesting about the product is the process setup and automation, which is also nifty. But BQE claims that in a week they can do your needs analysis, in another 2 weeks or so they can configure and onboard you. Then they suggest maybe anywhere from 0 to 4 weeks for training. So they're thinking they can have you implemented in somewhere between 3 to 7 weeks. And our experience with the platform is exactly that. It is usually quite quick to make this particular conversion. Now, we've watched other conversions that are very, very long, but that's not the case here. So, as Brian has alluded to, team member expectations, client expectations, and the labor shortage are all going to, force optimization as we see it. We're still looking at constraints in the supply chain and inflation factors as well. But all of these cost increases also drive us more towards optimization. Most important, though, as I think about it, your clients expect high quality tech enabled services, and platforms like BQE Core enable that to happen. And as you're trying to compete for projects and you're trying to compete for team members, you got to have the right technology. So, Brian, other closing thoughts here on BuildQuick Core?
I don't think your clients ever brag that you are the best at entering data, or the best at getting data from one system to another, or other things like that. Okay. I think we have to remember what our value proposition is. Okay. And I think there is a value proposition both to the employees of this is a great place to work, and to clients, which is focusing on the services that they want and not the services that they don't want. What don't you want? Okay. And so this concept of getting an integrated suite so that you can focus on what matters and not worry as much about what doesn't, and not get as lost in the details, I think is absolutely critical, especially as we move more into advisory and other services that are more nebulous and more 30,000 feet and less right in the middle of the corn patch.
Yeah. And BuildQuick Core, in my mind, helps with a variety of things and illustrates them well. Speed and SaaS products, which it clearly has, quick implementation, good support. Those are all fundamentals as we'd see it. But I believe that it represents the opportunity to change to new generation platforms. And we think that it is at least a product that you should consider in your strategies. We'll talk with you again in a future accounting technology lab. Good day.
Thank you for sharing your time with us. We'll be back next Saturday with a new episode of the Technology Lab from CPA Practice Advisor. Have a great week.